Welcome back to the amazing High Vibration Family Haiku York YouTube channel. Here we go. Okay. 8 predictions for 2030. Excuse me. 8 predictions that will be happening by 2030. Here we go. Alright. By 2030, the world will be different. It'll be 9 years in the future. Ooh, what can happen in 9 years? A lot of things can happen in 9 years. I'm predicting that the biggest industry in the world is going to be based around climate change, or should I rather say the pollution problem. A lot of people say there's an overpopulation problem. That's not the problem. The problem is overpollution. We can have so many more humans. I'm predicting more like 50 billion humans or something like that on Earth. Maybe even more could be sustained if we get a handle on our pollution problem, because we're doing a lot of bad stuff with pollution. We're allowed to dump pollution into the ocean, allowed to put toxic waste into the ground, as long as it's like lined with a little thing. There's different EPA regulations, but that's kind of the thing. So alright, let's get to the first prediction for 2030 is we will not have any more petroleum-based plastic. Plastics will be gone. They won't be gone because they'll still be getting processed and turned into different things, which you can recycle them, turn into amazing stuff. This is what I'm going to be focusing on because I love healing Earth, environment, humans, all that stuff. That's my passion. That's what I'm here to do. And so there will be no more petroleum-based plastic being created. There will still be petroleum-based plastic and microplastics in the ocean, in the water, in the animals, maybe even in us, because we've been eating stuff with microplastics in it. Check it out, look it up, microplastics. If you don't want to, basically, plastic turns into microplastics, or tiny little pieces, and go into your body. How's that sound? Amazing? Well, not super amazing, but that's what it is. Also, because the new industry, and the biggest industry, is going to be around displacing pollution, number 2 prediction is there will be no more fossil fuels. That's right, fuel companies at the top of the list, Royal Dutch, Exxon, other ones. You guys will be displaced, and there'll be no more fossil fuels being used for energy. We'll have better ways. We'll have much better ways, and the fossil fuels are dirty, they're old school, and they're just kind of messing up the environment. So yeah, we can always fix this. We can make it better. We can improve. And we have the technology now, and we'll get to this in number 8, but we've actually always had the technology. But here we go. My 3rd prediction for 2030 is improved ability to harness the sun's energy. Because when we don't have these things like petroleum anymore, causing massive pollution, which is also our biggest source of energy, our power grid is hooked up and fueled 70% or majority or primarily by fossil fuels and coal. How's that sound? Not so good, right? Well, we're going to discover new ways to harness the sun's energy, and it's going to maximize and multiply the effect of these things we call solar panels that we put out in the sun. It catches it, turns it into energy, usable for the power grid, for vehicles, transportation, smartphones, the internet, everything. Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Alright, we have 4. This is going into what we have. Clean ways to capture and reuse emissions and apply them. So, not just store them under the earth. So clean coal is like, they're basically capturing the coal emissions, and they're storing it underneath the earth, which is still not good. You're messing up the environment, making up pollution. So that's capturing, but it's not reusing. So before we implement super reduction of everything, between now and 2030, we will create better ways to turn our emissions into energy. We'll reuse our emissions and it won't be bad anymore. We'll be able to use our emissions in a way that fuels our economy instead of destroys our economy and our environment. Because our environment is indeed in danger from overpollution. The pollution is getting terrible, it's getting out of hand. The problem is people are making so much money from polluting that they don't want to change. They don't want to change what they're doing, and if they don't have to change what they're doing, they're not going to. So another prediction is, okay, probably just going on, this is part of prediction number 4, we'll be able to reuse emissions. Also, kind of some of them earlier predictions is, we will not be stuck with the whole pollution thing anymore. The old ways will become obsolete, and it will be detrimental to try to continue those business practices because the new ways are making so much more money, they're so much more efficient, and they'll be so widespread and wide scale adopted that the manufacturing of these different parts and machines and technology will be so efficient and cheap, it'll be so much more economically compelling to adopt these new pollution strategies instead of letting them go and saying, all right, we don't need that. We don't need the new pollution things. Let's stick with our old way, because a lot of things, like, did I already say this? Okay, so this is the next one. Prediction number 5 is there'll be no more paper from trees. Just like so many people have made a lot of propaganda about stuff just to have their way. So we'll have alternatives for paper. There will still be paper, but there will be way better alternatives. And we don't need to chop down an entire tree. We'll have better plant alternatives for paper and for plastic and for petroleum and oil. We'll be able to have much better alternatives for that too. And most of our energy will be coming from the sun, because our sun capacity to harness the sun's energy will be massively multiplied, probably 100 times. And that's going to be my prediction, is we're going to 100 times our current capacity of harnessing the sun's energy, and we'll have super solar panels. And let's see, what else do we got? All right, we'll create a better strategy from increasing regulations to creating better solutions. Because right now what we're doing is, all right, we see the problems with the climate change. It's looking bad. It's looking like stuff is getting super polluted. They're just dumping everywhere. They're like, all right, we need to increase regulations. Moment of silence for all those regulations that are going to die and get replaced with better options and alternatives. All right, so we're going to change our strategy from increasing our regulations of pollution to reducing and creating better solutions. So right now we don't know what to do necessarily. We're like, we don't have the technology for this, even though we do. I'm getting to that. The bonus, number 8, prediction. But we don't know. We're like, all right, we don't have the solutions right now. What are we going to do? Let's increase regulations. Let's make people, like in the Davos thing I made on the last video, let's increase our regulations to, make people pay more if they're going to be dumping. We're going to, like the EPA is great. They've been doing regulations for a long time. Lining, like if you have a toxic waste landfill, which is worse than a municipal solid waste landfill, you have special liners, you have special way to build it that creates a safer environment, but still this creates runoff. It just minimizes it a little bit. It's not really dealing with it at the source, okay? And part of this 6, creating better solutions, is I am going to actually help, and I'm working on this right now, to create a better solution for handling these waste products in toxic waste landfills, radioactive waste landfills, even all landfills, all types of trash, because when we can fix this, we don't need to start dumping stuff into the ocean. We need to start dumping anything. In fact, trash will be the new treasure. That will be also part of number 6. Trash will be the new treasure is my prediction. And we're going to be amazed, because this is going to be the biggest market, is pollution and waste. So that's going to be really awesome. What else do we got? All right, 7. Industries, governments, and nations will adopt the new methods because they will be more profitable. These new methods that I'll be developing, and other like-minded people and individuals who are very smart, very intelligent, and visionaries perhaps, seeing into the future, seeing these problems and creating solutions now, that are going to be 100% sustainable instead of just minimize the emissions. So instead of like taking emissions from like a coal, like making clean coal alternative, we have just better solutions. So all these things are going to be more profitable. Like I was saying earlier in the video, people won't be able to sustain their old ways of making petroleum, of making plastic out of oil, because that stuff will be way too expensive to continue, and we'll have better alternatives anyway. So we're not going to lose anything. In fact, we're going to gain everything by adopting these new strategies of implementation and of solutions for the waste and for the pollution. This is absolutely fantastic, and I'm working on this. So if you have any ideas, if you want to hear about it, if you want to collaborate, or if you'd like to purchase these amazing new ideas, let me know. And we're doing research right now, research and development. That is going to be an amazing part of the future. Research and development has been going on for a long time and has been developing to a level where it is extremely efficient, and there's so many avenues for getting your ideas out there to the public and commercialized. So here we go. The last prediction is implement past inventions for modern day application. Because the truth is, a lot of these things we're doing have replaced even better alternatives because people had invented them. Just like there's been so many better inventions. Like if you look at Nikola Tesla, he had invented better stuff that we could still be using today, but we haven't because we didn't want to implement it. But if we look back into the patent office, if we look at these amazing inventors, they have all these amazing inventions where all we need to do is implement them. And I think the Elon Musk's Boring Company or something is just one example of many of these applications where they went into the past, and there's these things that were invented over 100 years ago that are the solution to the modern day problems. We're just now getting to them and applying them, which is fantastic and amazing, but also it's about time. And the time is not just about time, it's the perfect time is now to implement this stuff and to change the future by looking into the past. Looking at history, we'll understand the future and be able to crush it. So we'll be able to crush pollution, we'll be able to crush waste, we'll be able to save the planet, we'll be able to increase profits while increasing people's lifespans and reducing the pollution onto the earth that we love. And earth is amazing, so we don't want this to be polluted. We want this to be amazing. So those are my predictions. You know, basically a lot of stuff is going to be happening with climate change, but really overpollution is the problem. Dialing in on pollution, creating the solutions, and making new institutions that are commercializing or handing out or funding these new projects. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be really cool because we're finally dealing with the problems. The Great Reset, as it's called, is a window. The Great COVID pandemic is a window. And I'm not sure what the intention was behind it or the shutdowns, but it was also having the effect of having people realize the reduced emissions and reduced air travel and emissions from industry because people were stuck at home. So we're getting a new glimpse of the future, a new look at reality, and it's going to be absolutely amazing, and we're going to handle all the waste and pollution and create new inventions and crush it. So please leave me a comment, reach out to me, and peace.